BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on their $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance of a weekly prize and your share of $200,000. And when the game's over, head on over to the online casino, get in onto a game of blackjack, poker, or unwind with maybe one of the over 150 slot games that they have. Head over to the website today and get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here.
Welcome, everyone. It is the Fly Guys podcast. Justin Goodhart alongside Cameron Klein. Now, I apologize for my mic quality that you're going to be hearing throughout this episode, an abbreviated episode, as full disclosure to everyone who listens. As you can imagine, being a podcaster is not my full-time job. I know, it's shocking. It's not my full-time job. It's not even my secondary part-time job. This is my third job, if you can believe that. My second job is, and Cameron, get ready for it, because I got a promotion and a new title at this job.
Ooh.
At Penn State Harrisburg, I work as the broadcast coordinator, and that's where I do the play-by-play stuff for baseball that I've been able to talk about during my time on this show. And so, I like to bring my own equipment to Penn State Harrisburg when we're doing our stuff, just because, as you can imagine, even though it is a Penn State school, it doesn't have the financial resources that maybe a bigger Penn State might have. So as a result,
they don't have Fly Guy standards there.
No, they don't.
Not everybody does. It's fine. We get it, and it's understandable.
So I bring over my equipment, and this weekend was just a crazy blur with, I have my equipment over there. We bought a new sound mixer for the college and everything like that, so that's great. And it was just, on Saturday I was there from 10:30 till around 11:30 at night. So that's like a 13-hour day. And then yesterday I got there like around 11 a.m. and I did not leave until around 11:30 p.m. So about another 12-hour day. So point is, I'm very tired right now. I'm very a little discombobulated, and I left my equipment on campus. Yeah. So the next time you hear my voice, it'll sound much more crisp and clear and not sounding like I'm wearing 2 AirPods, which if you see me wearing 2 AirPods, shut up. No, you didn't. And also, I'm just getting back in from my regular job. I had a bit of a work event. So that is why, if you're watching this on YouTube, firstly, what's up? Secondly, that's why I'm wearing a polo and not Philadelphia Eagles gear, because we are about an hour away from kickoff time. And as Cameron knows, this is a very interesting and tough time for me right now, because this is right about where we get to the point where, I start to kind of fall apart, Cameron. This is right around that point.
Yeah.
But Cameron had this great idea. He's like, okay, I know how to calm Justin down. Let's talk about the most exciting thing happening in Philadelphia right now. And that is that Matvey Michkov played in his first game as a Flyer in the preseason. And what does the guy do, Cameron?
Yep.
He gets goals. That's what he does, man. That's what he does.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm glad you're using a healthy avenue to channel your energy. That's good. That's a good thing. Because and it's funny. And for disclosure, for those wondering, it was Justin's suggestion to do this time. So
it was.
And I was thought to myself, I was like, okay, man, we're gonna be. I'm worried about your health. I'm worried about you having a stroke. But no, Matvey Michkov. As much as we were excited for the Eagles, the dude came. They lost the game, but no one gives a shit because no one cares about preseason hockey or these rookie games at all. They're more just for fun. I feel like every year the rookie game comes along and it's more of a celebratory ceremony. Okay, cool, we're back, and then we don't pay attention again for another month. Not this year though. Not this year. We're gonna be paying attention this year. The guy scored, and it wasn't. I texted you when you sent it to me. It wasn't a fluky goal. It wasn't a garbage goal. It wasn't him just bouncing a puck off of him or him just driving the net Chris Kreider style. It was what you wanted to see. It wasn't insane. It wasn't a Michigan goal, but it was the awareness. It was the quickness. It was the hands. It was the hand-eye. It was everything you want. It was the cheekiness. It was the audacity of a goal like that from a man like him. It's everything you wanted to see. So it's very exciting.
And Cameron, it came on the power play.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Could you imagine?
Imagine a world
Is this happening?
in which the Philadelphia Flyers have a guy with the
Yeah.
cheekiness, as Cameron just said, with the audacity. You're gonna
Balls.
stuff a goal. You're gonna stuff a goal down by the red line. That's what you're gonna do, and you're gonna get the goal. I'll sign up for 82 games of that. And you know what? He took a hit after he scored. Like one of the Rangers pushed him over, and he gets right up and he's already celebrating.
Yeah.
And in typical Flyers fashion, they went on to lose that game. So we still have everything on schedule. Michkov scores his first goal as a Flyer. It was fun. It was exciting. I was, you know what? Like, did you have any doubts though? Did you think that he wasn't gonna get a goal in his first game as a Flyer? Like, we all make the jokes and we all like to say, but this is kind of like the prince that was promised, right?
Right.
This is the guy, and so you like to think that he can make that kind of an impact right away. But even more importantly, Cameron, I don't know how you feel, and you can tell me about this. I saw that goal and I was just like, this Flyers team, no doubt, has a power play that teams will have to respect.
Yeah. I mean, that's the idea going in. That's why they got him. That's why they drafted Jet Luchenko, which a lot of people, again, were a little felt he was drafted a little earlier than he should have been. But no, that's the main focus. Because again, like last year, the power kill was fun for the couple months that it was there.
Yes.
But it's the special teams, dude. That's what makes those differences in those games. That's what wins you a Stanley Cup. I mean, Tampa Bay, when they had their power, their run, their dynasty run, their power play was the best in the league. Their penalty kill was equally good as well. You got to have the special teams play, and it's the biggest missing thing from this Flyers team from last year. Specifically the power play. Not even last year, dude. Let's be honest. The last 5 years, the last 10 years, it feels like the power play has just been almost non-existent, and it's just been frustrating. So it's nice, the idea that that's going to hopefully be corrected. And seeing that very early on, again, it's one preseason game, we don't know. But seeing it immediately, it's not a bad sign. So feels nice. Feels nice.
Listen, if he had not scored, we'd be like, wow, I mean, come on, it's his first game. What do you expect?
He's a rookie,
but like,
right.
He did score. And also, it wasn't just Matthew Michkov. As a matter of fact, I wanted to make sure I mentioned this because Maddie Campbell, a great writer for Broad Street Hockey, she took the time to highlight 5 players that she felt were absolute stars in the Flyers rookie series when taking on the New York Rangers. By the way, quick shout out to the Rangers on one thing. If they invest in nothing else, they invest in the biggest, beefiest boys you've ever seen lace up skates on a hockey rink. I thought I was watching the National Hockey Basketball League Association because of just how massive these rookie Rangers are going to be. Now, listen, are they going to be good? It's not going to matter because when Matthew Michkov sweeps the Rangers out of the playoffs in a couple of years and the Rangers go on like a 10-year streak of not being good anymore because the Flyers ruined them, who cares how big their players were? But in the meantime, before we get to that point, Matthew Michkov was obviously the first person that Maddie mentions, which, I mean, come on.
He's the guy. He's the guy.
She also mentions Emil Andre, who, you know what? Like, Andre's been this player now for a couple of years where you've heard about him. The Flyers like him. They're clearly high on him. They bring him up for a couple games when there's an injury or, when they need a 9th D-man because Torts, for some reason, just doesn't have enough D-man that when it comes to 7, he needs that extra man.
Yes.
But the thing is like, he makes some mistakes, but at the end of the day, what he does is that he is such a quick player and he's able to wipe out dangerous chances, and he does such a great job with his stick that he is a guy that if the Flyers can develop and bring up from the Phantoms into the NHL squad, you're looking at just like really doing a great job filling out a 6-man D rotation. And I think every Flyers fan would love to do away with this tired 7th D-man. We're going to throw in there Mark Stahl or Eric Johnson. Like, they would like to have some youth and some consistency out of their defense. So, Emil Andre is, I think ultimately, it's good to see him getting a shout out in this article. That means, hey, he's growing. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, he played pretty well last year. I mean, he had, I want to say, 30, when I'm doing my math right here, 38 points in 71 games with the Phantoms. He, the idea is you want that Swedish-born, quick, tall, puck-moving defenseman. You know, that's the idea. I'd like to have him have a better plus minus than Erik Karlsson, but the idea is, Erik Karlsson-esque. So yeah, it's. I'm glad you pointed him out as well. He's been in the system for a little while, and he's one of those guys I feel like people think about because I feel like you hear that name a lot, and you
Yeah.
forget that he's only 22 years old. And a lot of guys in this team are that way. You forget. You've heard about this name because we're so hopeful for the future. We're constantly looking at the prospects for the future that it's always you're forgetting that these guys are 18 when they're drafted half the time. And yeah, plenty of time to grow. Plenty of time to grow.
And one other thing, but in this article that Maddie Campbell writes at the end, she writes rather. Now both Andre and Laperriere noted that limiting those mistakes with the puck is a work in progress, but we have to give him credit for always working to correct and bounce back. And even with the bad, he was one of the most impactful players on the ice this weekend, and his momentum heading into camp is building nicely. And guys, at the end of the day, we make the jokes of like, Michkov's going to win the Conn Smythe this year. I know that, but it's a young team, as Cameron pointed out, and this is all about just getting better. It would be so nice for the rebuild to be over, right? We would all love that. It's not over, and seeing guys though like Andre improve and take those next steps will only help us get to the conclusion of the rebuild a little sooner. So that was a good one. The next one though, Cameron, Jet Luchenko. Now here's a guy that, let's be honest, Jet Luchenko was someone that a lot of people think the Flyers took too early, right? They're like, oh, that was a stretch, that was a reach. But for Jet specifically, he has performed so well, whether it's, in the other tournaments that he was in over the past summer, playing hockey this past summer. He's been doing a lot to make Flyers fans think, well, okay, maybe he won't take as long to get with the main roster as we might have thought when the team drafted him and all that stuff. Yeah. And I mean, he looked good in the first game. I thought there's a lot that has to be polished with his game, but here's another guy, Cameron Klein. How old is Jet Luchenko by chance? If you happen to know offhand.
I don't immediately. I want to say he can't be older than 19, right?
He's 18.
Yeah.
He was born on August 21st, 2006. I feel a little gross now.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. I remember when I was 17 years old, that was the first time I felt that way. Watching people get drafted who were my age. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
But he's 18 years old. He's 18 years old, and honest to God, this is a player that I think a lot of Flyers fans, more and more as we learn more about him, they're getting a lot of optimism around, what this guy could be. Now, unfortunately, the Flyers fans have the same tendency that I think Phillies fans have, and we kind of tend to overrate our farm system just a little bit. We're just like, hey, man, like Jay O'Brien's going to be like a top 5 NHL scorer at some point in his career. Like
the idea is that like every prospect is going to reach their highest potential. It's like, they're all going to do that. So they're all going to be that player. Like, yeah, absolutely. It's typical of every sport fan base.
I'm telling you, Matt Reed's going to get there one day. He's a stud in 2012.
He was one of the biggest ones. I remember that rookie season where he burst out with 20 goals, and everyone was like, "That's it, dude. We're set for life."
The next Briere is here. For me, it was always I was waiting for Braden Shen to break out and become an absolute star in the NHL. I was like, Braden Shen's going to.
I thought for sure he was going to have. I mean, he broke 30 goals once or twice, right?
Shen, maybe? I don't think he did it with the Flyers.
Not with the Flyers, no.
Did he ever do it with the St. Louis Blues?
I don't know.
He never broke 30 goals. The best season of his career was
20.
Ironically, the year that they won the Stanley Cup, when he had 70 points and he played all 82 games.
Yes.
Best season with the Flyers, he had 26 goals and 33 assists in the year the Flyers had the miraculous turnaround and made the playoffs, and then went on to beat, of course, the Washington Capitals in that first round. And that's how I choose to remember that series, of course. I
was racking my brain. I was like, what? When did we? Oh, right. Okay, he's being sarcastic. Right. He's burying it deep. He's burying it deep. All right. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Okay, so then the other guy. The other person we got to talk about, the guy who was the overtime hero for the Flyers on Saturday, Samu Tuomala, which I hope I'm saying that right. I still feel like I haven't really done enough practice with that name. Um, he's another one of those players that you've heard a little bit about over the last
I
like
was just
year,
gonna say, yep. You keep
and
hearing his name.
so
Yep.
you keep hearing his name. Which, listen, this is all good stuff. If you're constantly hearing about certain guys' names down in the minors, or whether they're in the QMJHL, the OHL, the WHL, whatever it is, that is a good thing, because the less you hear about a prospect, the worse it tends to be for that prospect.
Yes.
Like, no one thought Connor McDavid came out of left field. Connor McDavid showed up and he was just the best there ever was.
Yeah. No.
So the fact that you're hearing about these guys is a good thing. Now, much like Luchenko, he's got a long way to go. He's got a lot of confidence. I think that was something that was evident in the way that he played. He did score the OT goal winner or OT winner a few days ago, and
Right.
he looked pretty nifty doing it. But this is also a guy that is extremely young and also has a long way to long way to go,
Yeah.
and he's only 21 years old out of Finland. So
That's what I was just gonna say. He's another one of those guys where you hear his name a lot, especially if you're like me and you play NHL, but you only play the GM mode. You see his name a lot, right? And you see the potential and all that kind of stuff. 43 points last year in his first full season with the Phantoms, where he played 69 games. He's a right wing, shoots right. We all love that. And yeah, what, 21? I want to say 21 years old.
21 years old. He was born in 2003. Here's the thing about him.
Sickening.
He's 5'11". He's 190 pounds. He's a little light. He's a little lighter, which, not every guy, you can't expect a guy to be 5'11", 210 pounds. I'm not asking for that. He looks a little lanky. I think he's got to grow into himself just a little bit more before the Flyers are ready to call this guy up. But again, you're hearing more and more about him. And I think that is very notable. Last year with the Phantoms, in 69 games, he had 15 goals, 28 assists. It was his first year up at the AHL level.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to see. I think that's a very, very promising thing. We'll see if he can build off of his strong first year with the Phantoms in a second year with Lehigh Valley. But just keep this in mind, guys. If you're hearing about a prospect, that's a good thing more times than not.
Yeah, I'll just see if he played it all during the playoffs last year when the Phantoms were there. He did not, but just getting curious at overall the kind of like how he performs under pressure. But like you said, dude, again, 21 years old. I always think back to Sean Couturier. That's kind of the idea. At least some people, I think that's what they get hung up on. Is you think of like we're gonna have a guy who's gonna jump in the league at 18. It's not gonna happen. It doesn't normally happen. 18 to 24. It's gonna take time. Again, like you said, no news is bad news. So if you're hearing something, that's a good thing. If you're hearing development, you're hearing whatever, even if it's not exciting, it's not going to be exciting. It's a rebuild. The exciting things are the growth, unfortunately. But when you're hearing something, it means growth is happening. So in his case, that's great. And I just feel like it's been a while. The Flyers have not had a whole lot of like overall studs come out of their system. So we're really kind of holding out for some of these guys to be that really, really big difference maker that hopefully they don't have to try to get in free agency. Well, hopefully they don't have to try to trade away some of these younger guys or these assets to kind of get once the rebuild kind of hits the end of it.
Well, that's the mistake. That's the mistake the Flyers would be making, is to give up on some of these guys, try and get like, a 30-year-old player that can, still has some productive years left. But ultimately, those guys.
It'd be the way the Flyers old.
It would be the way the Flyers old. So it'd be signing a Vinny LeCavalier. I mean, of course, Cameron will always be the first to be like, well, you can mention Vinny LeCavalier, but I mean, he was doing well until that brawl happened.
12 goals in the first 2 months of that season, and then he hurts his back trying to defend your boy Braden Shen, and never the same. So
he does not remember.
Is that his fault, or is it the Flyers' fault for drafting a guy who's in his late 30s? I don't know.
Drafting a guy in his late 30s.
or signing a guy in his late 30s. But I don't know. That's not for me to decide.
Listen, with our 10th overall pick, we're taking a 37-year-old that used to play for the Tampa Bay Lightning. How about that? The last person that Campbell mentions here is Hunter McDonald. Now, I actually did not know much about Hunter McDonald going into this weekend.
I was gonna say, he's the only one on that list that I did not know immediately as well.
So the first thing because I did like, try and check out some of these games a little bit and tried to follow along like Twitter accounts because like I didn't have a way to watch it.
Yeah,
I didn't hear much about him. I did hear that his name got called a couple times to the penalty box. That I did hear, but
we love
and
that.
I didn't give it much thought. Yeah, we love that, right? Like, by the way, guys, remember when I said most of the time when you hear about a player, it's good news. If you're hearing penalty box a lot, that's usually a bad thing.
I
But
mean, he is a flyer, though. There is a
hey,
subsect of the fan base that's very, very happy about that.
hey,
They're
listen,
they're ecstatic right now.
what did a wise man once say? Be a flyer, right? We're changing the culture. Thank you, Elaine. You did that for us.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
As Campbell writes here, and again, I definitely recommend you guys go check out this article if you want to read more about the 5 scores, because she also gives some honorable mentions as
yeah.
to other players that maybe you should keep an eye on as the season goes on, see how they're doing in the minors. But what she says about Hunter McDonald was that he held up well physically, which does and should feel like a large accomplishment if you know anything about that New York Rangers team. Remember that part I said, big beefy boys?
Yeah.
These guys were huge. The
Yeah.
first thing I think, I'm pretty sure Kelly even mentioned it. It was either Kelly or Steph Driver. I can't remember which one was there to watch it happen, but
Mm-hmm.
one of those two said, "Oh, these Rangers players are massive." So to handle yourself well against these guys, I think is phenomenal.
It is a
And
good point, especially when you just brought up the fact that some of these guys are smaller. Sumit Malado, smaller. Matvey Michkov, smaller. So the fact that, yeah, they're kind of having their tenacity, making it a one-goal game, kind of throwing themselves in there, yeah, that is a good sign.
now
It's a good
Hunter
point.
McDonald, you might be asking, well, how big is he? He is 6'4". He's 205 pounds.
Yeah.
A little light. You're a little light. A little bit on the lighter side.
He could fill the frame out a little bit more. Yes.
I think that man has earned some trips to Fleming Steakhouse. Let's order a bowl of mashed potatoes for the table. Let's get him a porterhouse, and let's get the guy some carbs, huh? Let's get him some protein and some carbs.
Yeah, I'd crush some mashed potatoes right now. It sounds fantastic.
Have you ever been to Fleming Steakhouse?
No.
So if you next time you come back home, just tell your parents, like, you know what? I'm coming back home. Let's do something really fancy. Fleming Steakhouse. I personally love. The only thing I will warn you about, Cameron, and it is a fair thing to mention, I can't just send you to a restaurant without giving you some context here.
Okay.
Their steaks are normally ranging between $65 to $100 a steak.
I kind of figured. I'm typing them up right now.
I actually want to see your reaction. Listen, the food is delicious. I love Fleming's. And this podcast, though it is not sponsored by Fleming Steakhouse, I would 100% take a sponsorship with Fleming Steakhouse.
Yeah, we're here for you. We are here for you. Yeah, holy
Listen, we're here for the Philadelphia. Right?
Prime tomahawk, $104.
Yeah, but tell me how good it looks, though. I mean, come on, man.
It does look pretty good. Chilled shellfish tower, $167. Dude, you are out of your mind.
I did request to my father we got the shellfish tower, and he just looked at me and started. He just laughed at me. He was like, "Who's paying again?" I'm like, "Okay." And this was years ago. This is when Grant graduated law school. So
yeah, that's a Fleming's dinner occasion right there. You can get a petite mignon, $56.
And so that's the thing, though. Like, Hunter, don't do that. So, like, Hunter, you got a $950,000 cap hit with the Philadelphia Flyers. You got the money to walk into Fleming's and order the shellfish tower, get yourself the tomahawk. Listen, if you need your greens, they have a great variety of spinach and salads that you can go with. But that mashed potatoes, a little bit of pepper and salt on top, you can't go wrong. And so I definitely.
Or if you want to go even cheaper, just Wawa mac and cheese, brother. Just slam back.
That'll fill you up. That'll fill you up. Yeah.
It'll, you'll have some digestive problems for sure, but the weight'll go up. The weight'll go up.
I think one of the gifts I'm going to send to you and Olivia at some point out to Massachusetts, I'm just going to send you guys Wawa iced tea, just as like a hey.
Yeah. It was funny. The one time we were coming back home from visiting, and I bought. Always stop at Wawa. Let me grab some stuff. Right, I grabbed soft pretzels because you can't get that, and the teas as well. Those are the two big ones, and usually one hoagie for ourselves each. Last time I remember I went, she was still at the house, and I just went get gas, whatever. I grab a couple pretzels. I leave, go back to pump the gas. Right, as I'm pumping the gas, I go, not enough. Went back in. I walked out with probably about 12 double soft pretzels,
Oh my
four half
God.
gallons, iced green tea, peach tea. And as I was buying them, as I kept grabbing them, the guy was looking at me, and I was like, I live in Massachusetts now, so we don't have that. And he was just like, oh, yeah, I actually, he's like, I hear that a lot. A lot of people come in and just stock up on stuff. And I was like, yeah. He was like, apparently we're actually having some stores in Connecticut. And I was like, say more. That's fantastic. So, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
They might be coming up. Yeah, might be coming up. And it's funny because, dude, if you mention Wawa to people up here, I thought they wouldn't know what it is. They do know what it is. And we can let anybody who thinks Sheetz is better know it's not, according to the rest of America. Because all of America, when I bring up Wawa, they immediately just go, Wawa's so good, dude. It's gas. It's gas, bro. That's all I ever hear. So Sheetz can suck it.
Well, I will say this.
Pittsburgh sucks too.
For people nowadays, when you find a Wawa that is also a gas station, and there's nothing wrong with making it a gas station, the best Wawas will always be the ones without the gas station, though. That's just how I, yeah.
100%, where it's just the deli. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best. No, they were the best. Yeah.
But yeah, Hunter, listen, go get yourself some. Just don't order your steak medium well or well done. Like be a man, obviously, and get it medium well or I'm sorry, medium or medium rare. Don't do the medium well.
That reminds me. I got to tell you a little thing here. I got to tell you a little thing.
By all means. Hold on.
What?
Before you go, I just want to make sure I wrap this up. Big shout out to Maddie Campbell, who not only wrote the article about the 5 stars of the Flyers rookie games, but also she took the time to write about the article of Matthew Michkov scoring his first goal in the rookie series. So be sure to check her out and all of our wonderful writers out, especially maybe even Ryan Quigley, who wrote about how Matthew Michkov meets sky-high expectations in his first Flyers action. Tons of terrific writers all on Broad Street Hockey, and we know that you're growing your passion and your interest now that we're getting closer and closer to the start of the regular season. Please go check out our writers. They really are awesome, and even better than that, they're wonderful people. Cameron, tell me your story.
But no, before I go off too, it's a great source to learn things. They're fantastic. Plus, everything is really like kicking off this season. Like it's a better, stronger form of broadsheet than we've ever had. So it is really exciting. But to go into my story really quick, not a long story, but me and my brother, we didn't think that we liked steaks growing up, right? We thought, like, this is overrated. This is really, really, like, chewy. What, like, I don't understand the hype of it. That's because Papa Klein, only well done, dude. Only well done. We go to a steakhouse, I'll take it well done. I go, Dad, please don't. Dad, please don't, Dad. Dad, please don't. Well done. And the thing is usually the waiters are nice. I got to give it to the waiters because usually like, yeah, no, like, that's fine. Like, it's totally fine. And the chefs, they'll do it, but like at the same time, it's like, Dad, please don't. Please don't. So the first time I ever had a steak that was not well done, I realized I was like, oh, this is why people like steak.
Yep.
Because it's good. Because you don't chew it for 45 minutes and just taste gristle and char and then try to choke it down your throat. It has flavor and stuff, and like it melts in your mouth. I never knew that until I was about like 16, 17 years old. Because he's just, how do we like them? Black. That's how we like them. We're just going hard. What's for Christmas? Coal, brother. In the form of steaks. Serve them fresh and hot for you.
The amount of restaurants, steakhouses specifically, this doesn't like happen at chain places, that will, they'll describe to you what rare looks like this. Medium rare looks like this. Medium looks like this. Then they get to well done. And a lot of the time, these places will say, order chicken. Do not tell us.
They're right.
They're 100%. My mom, so that time we went to Fleming's, right? Like, it was, oh my God, this was so bad. So my mom orders the steak medium well. And my father looked at her, and my brother, and it was the look of like this, Cameron. It was just. Like this look of disgust, like this look of like, I really can't believe that we're sitting.
Your dad's just like, you're asking why I don't take you out? Right there. I mean, dude.
Mom, I love you to death. And thankfully, man, if my dad ever actually said that, that'd be crazy. But, I mean, I love you, Mom. And so I remember the waiter looking at her being like, are you sure that's how you want it done? And she looked at her, she goes, yeah. Like I said it, didn't I? And then the waiter walks.
I respect that part of it too. I do respect the part where they go like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm a customer, so yes." It's like, you know what? Yeah, damn right, dude.
Listen, if I'm paying $100, make it the way that I want it.
That's America right there. That's
That
America.
is America.
Yeah.
Rock, flag, and eagle. And so when the waiter walked away, my father looked at her and goes, "You can't order a steak like that." And she looks at him and she goes, "I'm pretty sure I just did. I believe I said medium well."
That's baller. I love that.
Like,
I love that she responded that way. Because she's right.
well, my mom does that a ton, where she will just like, I'll be like, "Mom, you can't do that," and she's like, "But I did, didn't I?" Again, I love my mom to death, and this is not open season on my mom, but she does have this terrible habit of showing how she is a bit of a boomer when we go to a place like Bonefish Grill, and then she asks for this one thing that's no longer on the menu, and she looks at the waiter, she goes, "It was here last time I was here. Why is it not here this time?" And I'm just like, mom, just like, you clearly should have like a secondary pick,
Right.
because you knew it wasn't on the menu before the waiter showed up. It wasn't like it was on the menu. You said it, and the waiter said, "Oh, we actually don't sell that anymore." You looked for it.
Crosses it out.
Yeah. You looked for it. It wasn't there. You asked for it. He told you it's not there. Why are you giving him a problem? You're the one with the problem in this moment.
Could you imagine drafting a player or going to draft a player and they're like, no, the Giants already took him. But, well, he was just here. The fuck do you mean, dude?
The Giants are like, we're taking Devontae Smith. And he goes like, well, we already have him. He was on our board.
I mean,
we can split custody of this, but he's coming with us. Oh my god,
that is funny though. And all of our parents are guilty of it. They're all guilty. Like that's the thing. All the kids make fun of boomers and that kind of stuff. But all of our parents are do it. And also, a lot of us also completely understand. Like some of, like as long as funny as it is that your mom's like giving this waiter crap who can't control it. It's just also like, I do get why you're frustrated though. Like if you drove all the way out and you're like, this is the mindset. This is what I'm eating. This is what I want. And every one of us has a little bit of us inside that just goes, when someone says, "No, we don't have that," just wants to go, "Well, why the fuck not?" I mean, I thought about it all day, dude. So I'm defending your mother here.
Listen, you know what? I'm glad you are. I'm glad
that
you
waiter
are.
should have been fired.
Honestly, probably executed if we're going to be honest, because how could you not have? I forget what it was now. I think it was some sort of like. I think it was like some sort of pasta with maybe like crab meat, lump crab, because she loves crab, you know. Like in a white sauce, and it wasn't available anymore. And like, listen, to be fair, I mean, it sounds delicious. I'm not saying it doesn't sound delicious at all.
Yeah.
Unless some of you listening don't like seafood, in which case you're wrong, and I just want to make sure that you know that you're wrong. So as we wrap up like what's going on with the Flyers, I just want to quickly turn. Obviously, Week 2 in the NFL has happened, and we're waiting for the conclusion of Week 2, which is coming tonight with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons. And I just want to make a point, Cameron. I know I texted it to you yesterday. The Atlanta Falcons are so much not better than the Philadelphia Eagles. It's like laughable. So if they win this game, it better not be 31-28. It better not be 27-24. It better be 37-13 type of score, because for the last 2 years, I've been waiting for the Eagles to blow out an opponent. They didn't blow out anybody last year. They had to come back in a lot of their games, and then they started getting blown out.
Yeah, true.
In 2022, we blew out opponent. We punched people, took their names, gave those names to other people, and then punched them in the face.
Dude, do you remember the Titans game?
Oh boy, poor Ryan Tannehill. RT17 didn't survive that day.
No, it was a rough day for him, and for anybody who owned a Titans AJ Brown jersey.
What I remember, the three blowouts that I remember most fondly from that season. We blew out the Titans. Mm-hmm. We blew out the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, destroyed them.
Yes.
And then the Giants game on the road.
Yes.
48-22, because that was a party. And I do this thing where like my friend, like I have this one friend, she'll text me. She's like fairly newer into sports and everything like that. She'll text me and she'll be like, "Oh my God, what a start, 7-0 out the gate. I'm like, I just want to let you know it's 17-7 opponent. I always go down with a 17-point handicap before every game.
Yeah, we're down 28-0 going into the game.
Right now it's 14-0 Atlanta. That's how I view it. Right. So when she messaged me in that game, I think it was 14-0 Philly at that point, and I was like, she goes, this is awesome. I was like, I don't want to celebrate until the Giants have thrown the white flag. You keep going. 14-0 means nothing to me. Yeah. Talk to me when it's 28-0. Three minutes later, it was 21-0, and I'm like, talk to me when it's 35-0.
Yeah, it's never enough. It's never enough. No,
never.
And for those wondering, when Justin said that the Falcons are up 14-0, it is still 25 minutes till kickoff. For those out there. And I also, please leave in your comments how Justin has reacted to the game or how you think he's reacted to the game, since you already know what's happened. So you know if he's either very upset for the rest of this week or, I don't know, semi not disappointed.
I will be happy. Here's what will make me happy.
You're not going to be happy.
No. There is a way for me to be happy. If the game is over by the third quarter, and I'm talking like 10 minutes in the third quarter, I'm like, this game is over. And I know it's over. Yeah. I'll be happy because then it will make the close game with the Packers seem more real. Like, okay, that was a good team you played, and then you blow out a team you're supposed to blow out. But if it comes down to like the last drive of the game and we have to get a stop, I'm gonna come away from this game just being like, this is the exact same team from last year. And I said it to Cameron yesterday. I said I would love to know what it feels like again to have a 70-20 game. And Cameron, in his infinite wisdom, comes back to me and says, it is a highly overrated feeling.
Yeah, it feels great in the moment, and then you lose to the Bills by 20 points next week. You're a year later, you're wondering if you're thinking, okay, it's another rebuild. All right, I guess that's what we're doing.
He says he's going to keep. They say he plans on to keep on playing, which.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
That's a different episode for us. But I will say this.
I'll address
I did enjoy the New Orleans Saints destroying the Dallas Cowboys yesterday.
Hilarious.
And then in my back mind, I'm like, we have to play that team next week in New Orleans. I'm really glad that we get them next week.
I do think that the Saints are a little bit of a farce team. I think they're not as good as they've been playing. I do. But I think they're a good team. Don't get me wrong. I think they could win the NFC South. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying.
Are they good enough? The question is, Cameron, are they good enough to beat a good team like the Eagles at home next week? And I would say yes, they're good enough to do that.
I think they are too. But no, about the Tua thing, I mean, again, I'll address it very quickly.
It was horrifying.
It's horrifying. I'm very upset as a Dolphins fan. I'm very upset as a Tua fan. Not only as a player have I not had anybody I've ever rooted more for, but as a person as well. Tua has been, to me, in a league where there are a handful of unsavory characters that you don't want to root for. A guy like him, you do. And so it's very upsetting what's happened to him. I hope whatever he decides to do, it is the safest and healthiest option for him, and I hope everything works out and he has success with whatever he does in life. However, at the same time, if he does choose to retire, Tua, just know you will always be my quarterback. You will always be a quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. We will be forever proud of you for what you achieved. You pushed further past you were supposed to go. You proved every doubt wrong. And that's something to be proud of. Nothing can ever take that away from him. But I don't know what I personally want him to do. I just want him to make the best decision that's the safest decision for him.
I mean, I liked what Mike McDaniel said.
Exactly. That's kind of the route I'm trying to go. Yeah.
For everyone that's saying he needs to retire, I do think that there is a certain lack of respect that goes into that. You're trying to make the decision for him. And listen, it's not coming from a place of hate or malicious, look. But this guy's going to do what he wants to do, and he has a right to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
If his doctor tells him that he has to retire, well, then that's a decision between he and his doctor.
Yeah.
And really his own decision. That's not even the doctor's decision. It's just the doctor's recommendation. If he keeps on playing, I can tell you one thing. He's not going to want everyone collectively gasping every time he takes a sack, every time a defender comes running at him, every time he takes off on a scramble. He's not going to want that either. It was a horrifying hit.
Yeah.
And why he didn't slide is beyond me.
Yeah, I keep hearing that, and I get it because it's their first. It was my first thought as when they had happened. I mean, before he was even on the ground, before you even knew he was hurt. As soon as it happened, every time he does that, it was always the thought. But to my response with that is that hit wasn't egregious. It wasn't crazy. He could get sacked like that on any play. That could have happened
He
to
got
him at
hit.
any
Like
point.
it's a football play, and
Exactly.
again, and oh gosh, I don't like the people that are like, oh my god, it was Damar Hamlin. What are the odds? It's just like, can we drop the whole like joke about it? Like, it's not that funny. Like, what happened to Damar wasn't funny. What happened to Tua
Yeah.
isn't funny. It's unfortunate, no matter which player would have been the one that was involved.
Yeah.
And listen, that's football. That's a football play.
Yeah.
It's the NFL can make every rule they want. You can't remove the violence out of this game. They can make the stupidest XFL kickoff rules.
Yeah.
It's real simple, NFL. Either get rid of the kickoff, or if you want kickoffs done still, like you say you do, you put the ball back at the 25-yard line for the kickoff and put the touchback back at the 20-yard line, if you really want that.
Right.
Otherwise, what are we doing here? It's dumb.
And again, the idea is to protect players, and dare I say this, I don't think the NFL is protecting them for them as much as protecting them to have their star players and still be able to make a product. Yeah. Dude, yesterday, Cooper Kupp, Isaiah Pacheco, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa, all these guys.
Justin Jefferson.
I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown went down at a certain point. It gets to a point where it's like, like Justin just said, you can put whatever rules, you can do whatever you want. It is a fast-paced, physical, violent sport.
It's
People
football.
are going to get hurt, and it's unfortunate, and it sucks, and no one wants to see it happen. But you just got to hope that everybody just recovers well, focuses on themselves, and makes the best and safest decision for themselves.
And while everyone wants to talk about the players, there was something else that happened yesterday. A member of the chain gang for
oh my God, right
in the Baltimore Ravens Las Vegas Raiders game went down, and CPR needed to be performed.
Terrifying,
and
dude.
I just wanted to make sure I brought some attention to this, because it then happened on Sunday Night Football, where a member of the chain crew went down.
Yeah.
And so CPR was administered, and thankfully the member from the Ravens game, he was taken to the hospital, and he was in stable, or he was awake and alert. I don't want to say stable condition, because I'm sure that they're making sure that he's okay still.
Right.
And then a member of the chain gang required medical attention after he tripped over the yard line marker and smacked his head on the back of the turf.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that doesn't get lost, because of the star players that went down. It does suck for the players, but also, more importantly, anyone that works NFL Sundays, anything can happen, whether you're a cameraman and a player goes running right into you, if you trip and fall and hit your head, if you have some sort of heart condition. I just feel very, very hopeful that those two will be okay. And it was definitely a not so great day in the NFL for everything that was going on.
Yeah.
And I say that with about
rough.
30 minutes to go or 20 minutes to go rather, before I then put on an Eagles jersey and scream, "Hit him as hard as you can," when talking about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. And we love it. We're here for it. We're all going to be watching it alongside with you. So, what else are you going to do?
Go Birds,
baby.
For the Fly Guys podcast, my name is Justin Goodhart. This has been Cameron Klein. As always, the Fly Guys podcast is presented by Bet Online. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at Fly Guys Podcast, on Instagram at Fly Guys Podcast. He is at Cameron Klein 15. I am at Goodhart Justin. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, win the frickin' game, Eagles.